Hello, everyone, and welcome to the February 6th version of the Product Analytics Group Sync. I am going to start sharing my screen and we can go through the build board. And yeah, let's go from there. I'm muted. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. We've got a couple open milestone issues which we can close out, and we've got one that we need to sort out, which we'll talk about later in the meeting. Data retention policy, I think we're good, Sam, on the overall policy. At this point, we just have to, I don't even know what more we have. Well, it's confidential, but I think we've decided on the initial policy. But do you think there's any more action on the side?
I think we're probably good on this one for this milestone. I think our only follow-up is to create issues for things we decided weren't going to be part of the MVC that are going to be follow-on iterations.
Got it. So we'll go through the issue and create any other follow-ups we need and close this one out. So
Yep.
I think collaborate on that. We've got update tracking. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Just a very quick question. Do we have all the issues we need for the data retention policy we've agreed to? Like, are there any technical changes we need to make? I know we can't go into detail, but have we got issues for those?
That's what we need to do so we can close this out, just to make sure. Give me one moment. We've got a couple of open issues for updating tracking cases where users view an analytics dashboard, internal instrumentation for us, and improvements to natural language querying, which I think will quite lend itself to the next milestone since they're unassigned, but make sure we've validated those and those are ready to they're closer to being ready to implement since they're lacking workflow issues. But moving on, we've got problem validation with the the favorite with no order by modifier to quick as cube driver. Rob, anything you want to touch on here?
I have not got back to this after coming back from Christmas break. Not sure what I'm going to do. I might want to create a sync meeting at some point for anyone that wants to join, just to try and figure out where we're going to go from here. Because whatever we do is going to be a lot of work.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Remind me, if we do nothing, what happens?
We won't be able to support with, well, right now we can't support different types of time dimensions. We are restricted to day only. So if you want to start being more nuanced in our filtering, then we're going to either have to program it in, and then with smaller time dimensions, the computation time is going to go up because there's a greater number of data points to fill in. That's pretty much the big one. Is our whole filling, the whole visualization based upon the user's filters, date filters will just go out the window if we just remove it entirely. Too. So,
Rob, can you clarify too? Like, let's say for example, we're looking at today in a dashboard, and we want to give the time dimension of by hour. It's not, it would work, but the issue with fill is that we want to be able to fill out the hours that wouldn't have data because they're currently just missing from the visualization, or would it just fail altogether?
So Cube by default will fill in the missing data points between two pieces of data that it has. So if it had data for 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., but nothing at 9 a.m., it would fill that in for you. But what it won't do is fill anything before the first data point and after the last data point. So if you have a time range that's greater than the amount of data you have, then the graph axes don't line up with what you've selected in the UI. And this becomes a greater problem when you've got multiple different visualizations and each one has slightly different axes. It produces a misrepresentation of the data in many ways and gets very confusing from a analyst analyzing that data set.
I just wanted to clarify because you were saying like we don't support other time dimensions, but like the queries would work. It's just it's going to be weird because you're going to see visualizations that don't line up as far as the axes for the time or date range requested, right?
Yeah, if the time dimension defined isn't one that we support, we just return the data as is right now.
Right.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so we'll say once we start supporting more time dimension types, we will we'll begin to have a mismatch of data again.
Sounds good. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that you can still get it back. It's just going to be confusing to the user. That's what prompted this issue in the first place. Cool. So yeah, a sync meeting sounds good for that. So we can figure out where we go. I know we laid out some options from the last one, so we can push that forward. We've got a couple open issues, which we'll just leave as far as problem validation. People have capacity, we can help start moving that through. We've got a design issue. I don't think Graham's on the call for feedback prompt after creating a visualization, so we'll just keep moving along. A number of other open issues, which at this point, well, since we're a few days out, will likely just be scheduled for 1610 as far as some settings changes and investigating vector timeouts, as well as adding descriptions to the cube.js schema. So moving on to blocked issues, we've got scrape and shift cube metrics to rendering stack. Khalil, is there anything you want to touch on here?
I'm going to close this one soon. Just basically we cannot monitor the cube metrics because it doesn't expose. So I was going to check what can we do with the logs. With the logs, it's still already available. We won't be able to alert probably, but we can add dashboards. So I will comment on it and close it soon. Yeah, today or tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, I wonder with the logs if we can at least, I don't know, do request logging to start tracking request latency, because then that would help us in terms of being able to adjust scaling based on request latency. If we start seeing that increasing as well as timeouts. But yeah, as far as direct metric expose, I think we've gone as far as we can there and have a workaround at least with getting some Kubernetes metrics around it, at least into our system. Cool. Next, we've got an issue for restricting access to project analytics when there's no add-on purchase. It's confidential, but is there anything you'd like to share?
I don't know why this is confidential, if I'm honest with you. That's fine. No, it's currently, I think last I spoke to this, we were, it was in the hands of Graham to decide exactly how we want to present the fact that you won't have access to a thing unless you pay for it. So it's blocked essentially. There's nothing else I can do right now. It will roll on to 1610. Hopefully we can make some progress on it there.
Sounds good. Cool. Moving on to ready for development. We have dropping all of the snowplow event backup tables that we did when we did the large migration. So Robbie, you have this issue. Is there anything you to reports on this?
I don't think your screen's caught up with the. I can't see what you're
Yeah.
pointing at.
Me too, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me reshare and we can go from there. Apologies. Is that working better?
Thank
you.
you.
I
Loading.
can't see your screen yet.
It says it's loading. I'm sorry.
There you go. I can only see the first 4 columns.
Is it not showing ready for development right now?
No, I can see open, problem validation, design, and solution validation.
I apologize. The internet is not doing well then.
Shall I share mine?
Hopefully it catches. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
Cool. So dropping all snowplow events back up to those who do have this issues or anything. want to call
No,
out
I'm
here?
working on it. Like I still got some time to figure out how analytics configurator works. So I'm just exploring it, but I should be able to close it within this milestone.
Awesome. In that case, what we can do is move it to ready for development, or sorry, in dev, just to note that it's in progress. So I'll go do that on my end. We've also got an issue for queries returning inconsistent results, which is confidential, that is open for someone to pick up, as well as updating some general settings copy for our preparation for GA. Looking at in dev, we've got the backup strategy for product analytics for SaaS. We've made some progress in terms of a temporary solution for backing up ClickHouse databases over a 7-day retention period. So we'll be likely replicating that and just using that for now. So I think I'll go back to this issue and make sure that's all tied up, but I'll create a follow-up to actually implement that. But I think a lot of that will just be copying the we're looking at using a CI pipeline to automate this, copying that just to work for the product analytics specific ClickHouse services. As far as logging, this is a fun one because we've discovered that the solution we're using for log shipping for production and dev are maintenance mode now. So it seems like this will be a I'm gonna probably close and create a new one to kind of keep the scope up to date and a little bit less confusing. But we might have some work coming up in the next couple milestones to update our logging solution there. I'm trying to next now we're talking with we'll see what the path forward is there. And then Rob, you've got the next two issues for SSL errors and self-signed certificates.
Yeah, so I have added an SSL errors visualization to our Grafana dashboard. I am going to be talking hopefully with Halil later around adding cert manager specific metrics. So we can do things like tracking how long we have till each certificate expires. And if we get any renewal specific errors to do with renewals, so we can monitor those individually, as well as more broad sort of request failures. Which then ties into the second issue around investigating self-signed certificates, because all of them have renewed successfully this time around. So if we can get those alerts in, at least we can track and try and focus our efforts based upon what those the Grafana dashboard tells us if it happens again. So hopefully I'll be able to close those out by the end of the week.
Awesome. Yeah, since we worked on that, and for context, Rob and I were talking about it'd probably be useful. You know, SSL certificates can be culprit for a number of production incidents, and for context as well. You know, if this SSL certificates expire, the collector uses it, configurator as well as Cube. So that can definitely cause some disruption with our stack. So we want to make sure that we have some big red box for example, to represent that some of these certificates may be close to expiring and they're not doing it automatically. You got to do something about it. But, Halil, you've got the next two issues for funnels, configurator work, and vector error rate.
Yeah, so the configurator endpoint and migration for funnels, that one was a little bit large issue. That's why I decided to do it in small chunks. And the migration is done, and also creating the table for the new projects is also done. I'm now working on the endpoint, which will actually save those cube schemas. The second one, the vector error rate. Actually, I'm not working on not necessarily about the vector error rate. I am now trying to set up alerting. And then once I have the backbone of it, I will add the vector error rate. Yeah.
Sounds good. Cool. And then Max has got the last one. Anything to call out, given it's confidential?
Again, I'm not convinced it needs to be confidential. But I won't talk about anything that would be confidential. This is sort of the main bulk of the work for allowing the purchase of product analytics. It's pretty close, actually. I was really hoping to get it done this milestone, but it's probably not going to make it. The thing I keep hitting up against is all the work that has been done in fulfillment so far was to make it really easy to sell Duo Pro, which is awesome, but I'm now unpicking a bit of that very, very AI specific logic so that it works for other add-ons in the future. So for example, the problem I'm working on right now is that it's not possible to buy two add-ons simultaneously. So if we're selling Duo Pro along with product analytics at the same time, that won't work. So I'm refactoring some of that so that this add-on and future add-ons can all be purchased simultaneously, or to at least allow for that possibility. So I'm working really closely with fulfillment to try and get that working. I'm hoping to have the MR I've been working on for what feels like a lifetime in a position to be reviewed by the end of this week.
Awesome. Thanks for untangling with that. Cool. As far as in review, Max, if you don't mind, if I move that cost one back to InDev, I need to do an update to this. I don't think there's a pressing need for it, but it's something that I want to update just so we have a more accurate representation of our costs involved with running product analytics just for future purposes. But it's a little bit lower on the priority list right now. Ellen's got showing a namespace limit for product analytics usage, which I think all of the issues coming out of the building we see are just confidential by default. That's probably what's happening. But this is just for, based on the amounts of volume that you get or what you'll buy, just making sure that you as a user are aware of whether you're getting close to that limit or not. Not sure if anyone else has anything they'd like to call out as part of status since Elvin's not here.
I need to say right now it's got a majority of engineering views completed. I am the maintainer, front end maintainer to approve and merge, but it's currently in UX review. There's a lot of discussion going on regarding UX. So just waiting on that to be resolved and then we can merge away.
Got it. Then we've got Sarabi with users with the guest role can change custom dashboard project settings for projects in the victim group. This is a security issue. It's confidential. Is there anything you want to call out here?
No, it's got reviewed. It got reviewed by the maintainer and the AppSec team as well. And the backports are also created and it got approved. So I think it's ready to be shipped.
Awesome. Sounds good. We've got a bug issue with the no assignee for timestamps being converted to delivered numbers in the project analytics tables. Not sure if anyone can speak to this specifically. It's not working on this. Looks like Oliver's working on it, so we can just assign that to him.
That has just been merged my time this morning, so I'm assuming it should be going into verification with Elwin once he's awake and active.
Shall I reassign Elwin to it so that it's on his radar?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Cool. Then we've got a couple issues in verification, including the national language requirement of visualization designer. It seems like that's all wrapped up with the proof of concept, so good to perhaps run through that as we approach the next milestone and start working on the MVC customer facing version. Just to kind of wrap things up there. But Robbie, you've got the other two issues in verification. Anything you'd like to call out with the menu item or the capture decision?
No, nothing to call out here. I just one small question. I wanted to understand when is an issue actually closed from our end. So this got to production, these two issues, but I'm not sure when to close it actually.
Once you're happy that it's fixed in production, you can go ahead and just close the issue. It'll automatically have the scope label workflow closed assigned to it once it's been closed. Oh, complete, not closed. Yeah, workflow complete. When you close it, and then that's it.
Currently, it has workflow production assigned by MR.
Yeah, so if the MR has workflow production, that means it's ready on GitLab.com. So you can test it and then close the issue.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Although it does complain
Awesome.
at you if you go to workflow complete and you should have done it yourself. I will say that. The bot is mean.
Okay.
That's okay. Automation can complain with us, but it still does it for us. That's okay. All right. We do have a number of issues. We haven't run through the closed column in a while. We are running a little bit short on time. So if people don't mind, we can revisit this column at a later point just so we can get through the rest of the agenda. Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Rob, you've got the first point. You're muted.
God damn it. Sorry. Apologies, bad language. And also I had a doorbell ring and it's flustered me. Yeah, so I was looking through the milestones, just trying to get a gauge of what's coming up. And I just wanted to ask what the main priorities were. And Dennis, you've done a delightful and brilliant response to that.
Yeah, the TLDR is Sam and I made an oopsie. The dates for milestone planning haven't been updated to since we've changed when the milestone starts and ends because the release dates are now more dynamic. That hasn't happened. But to that end, I've been telling everyone the theme for the OKR and 1610 will definitely be focused on supporting that. So got a ton of open issues, first GA release epic to pick from. Custom event property querying and data enrichment does need a lot more specification, but the work we're doing with getting funnels working again will be a big part of that. So there's continuing to work on that will be a big thing. And then we've got the AI POC also completed. So figuring out are the issues that have been created as follow-ups, everything we need to do to get a POC, MVC out, or do we need some design support from Graham figure out how it works with Duo and how existing AI patterns working if we need to kind of reflect that a little bit more. So maybe not so much shipping the MVC in 1510, but just supporting it, adding follow-ups to make it more of an improved experience on the UI, and making sure that there's no other major updates. It is still an MVC, so maybe not getting it to perfect, but something that customers can start playing with. Yeah. But we will work on the issue. Sam and I are going to work on that today and tomorrow and have it ready. But again, if there's any point where we've got a lot of unassigned issues in the previous workflow columns, so there's definitely a lot to fix them as far as what we need to work on. So, does that answer? Does that help?
Yes, yeah, it does. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So I appreciate that.
Cool. And then, yeah, again, you got the next point.
It got answered. I just read it through quickly. So I'd like to merge the Kit end-to-end test MR. I just need a review and eventually, hopefully, approval. So Rob commented on his to-do list. So is it fine if I assign you as a reviewer, Rob, on the MR?
Yeah, feel free. I've added a calendar event to my calendar to make sure I don't forget.
Sure. And if you like, I'm happy to jump on a call to discuss it if needed or do a testing. So
Appreciate that.
For this point. Thank you.
Cool. You want to take your other point as well? And I'll wrap it up with the OKR topics.
Yeah, so another point I had is one of the OKRs for like product analytics track of our team in test department, quality engineering department, is to get core end-to-end tests, not only end-to-end tests, but core tests added to product analytics pipelines. So I think a good first step would be to create a list of what's our core tests that we need. So I created the issue for that, and we'll be working on it. And I would need some input from the team because I might be not aware of some parts of product analytics, I think. But yeah, that's future work. Just wanted to share.
No, thanks for sharing. I mean, as we get the testing pipeline officially in there and start adding more test suites in there, it'll be important to make sure we're all happy with that. Cool. The final point, as we're running out of time, is that Sam's written out most of the OKRs, but there's the one about custom event property and data enrichment that I still owe. So we are fiscal year 25 Q1 has started, so it's not lost on us that we haven't properly shared the OKRs as the quarter has already started, but so we'll try to get better at that. But to that end, everyone's generally aware of the overarching things, but we'll hopefully have more details in terms of specifically the data enrichment and custom event property querying. As far as GA releasing it and launching it, of course, the measures of how we're going to make sure that's completed. And then the MVC for the AI national querying is effectively how we shipped it. And so that's a very 0 to 1 OKR there. So cool. That's the end of the agenda. Is there anything else anyone would like to talk about as we wrap up the meeting?
On the OKRs, I'll just add a note that the E group and senior management is also working on finalizing their OKRs. What I'd like to do in the next couple of weeks, once they're all finished, top to bottom, during this meeting, or maybe I'll put a video together, is do a review of all of them at the different levels, how they connect, so that we can all see, how the things we're individually doing connect to the company strategy. So that's all coming together now. Expect that in the next few weeks.
Same for the engineering side, but Tim's been sick, unfortunately, so we're a little delayed on that side, but hopefully we can get everything connected and put together in the coming week. Thanks, Sam, for calling that out.
A high-level overview would be amazing. Really help me get a big picture view in comparison to what our own OKRs are and how they fit in.
Yeah, I think in the coming weeks, Sam and I will also kind of just do a bit of a reframing on what our focus is going to be for the year. So and what all the themes are, generally speaking, we want to focus on. Bring your own cluster, for example, maybe a bigger thing that will require, we have support there, but we also do need to think about, while we've made some design considerations to make sure that what we're doing with the stack is implementable or shippable on self-managed, we need to, take it's a bit of a focus shift to make sure that we're happy with how that's going to work for self-managed. We have done a lot of work for example, separating ClickHouse out of the home chart for those that want to scale it. So we just need to have a strategy around it. Okay, ClickHouse is included, but then we want to run it separately and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that may be coming out among other things. Like data enrichment, we'll keep talking about it, but we haven't seen anything too much about it. So cool. We are at time, so thanks everybody for joining. It's good to see everyone. I wish everyone a good rest of your Tuesday or Wednesday, and have a good rest of your week.